ruin it for
Perfect.
everybody.
Man.
All right. So, you want to talk about your initiative that nobody ever saw because nobody went to your stable talk.
Dude,
That's what you
Yeah,
said?
that's one of the things I want to talk about.
I apologize.
why don't we just say, like, welcome to the 2017 Derbycon
Oh,
podcaster meetup? Wouldn't that be nice?
there you go.
I'm
I
good.
thought we were
Thank you,
calling
Mr.
it
Nerd.
Like oh, yeah. I can't remember now. Something shitstorm.
There's
Yeah.
something... well, okay, so there's some kind of storm, there's some kind of...
Is this already
Right.
rated?
We're recording. So, yeah, this is the 2017 third annual
thank you.
podcaster meetup.
Woohoo!
Podcasters.
Wait a minute, I was never invited.
Because you add so much color to this
And
one.
we'll fix this in post. So this is the
And
2017 Derbycon. It's the third annual podcaster with podcasters.
Woohoo!
With us this year, as always, is... go ahead, Bill. Are you asleep?
Bill Gardner,
Bill
also
Gardner.
known as Onsi.
Okay.
Yep,
Pass
pass the mic. There you
pass
go.
the plate, pass the mic, whatever.
Just talk, you're on your couch.
Miss Bat.
I'm Miss
Okay.
Bat.
That's it?
She's just like, I'm Miss Bat. I need no further introduction.
Oh, that's not. I
Get
just,
with it.
God, you put me on the spot.
Suddenly, everybody's shy.
Ben Heisey with the Raleigh Security Podcast.
Nice.
Hi there. This is Stephen Bernstein, or Sciatic Nerd from Security Endeavors. Thanks so much.
I have a mic. I think it's on. This is Amanda from Breaking Down Security.
Wait, who gave Amanda a live mic?
Wait a
Something's
minute.
gone tragically wrong.
Us.
Okay. Andrew Call here from Defensive Security Podcast.
And Jerry Bell from Defensive Security.
Should we introduce
Joe
him?
Gray
Wait a
from
minute,
Advanced
Amanda
Persistent
Berlin of
Security.
what? Podcast?
Hold on, we're introducing other people back here too.
Aaron Natu of Aaron Natu.
No, alright. Oh my god.
So, that's a fantastic roll call going on there.
Great.
Jeremio, Cyborg 00101, local government.
Very nice.
Is that the name of the podcast? Or actually...
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
And Brian from Breaking Down Security.
I should mention that I'm from Rebooted.
Yeah, you're the
There we go.
So that was Mr. Betcher. I'm Brian from Breaking Down Security. I am the Brian. You're the Mr. Betcher. Get it right.
Sorry.
We all have roles, okay?
There's Brian and the Brian.
We'll fix that in post.
You know what?
Way to go, all current events.
I heard someone refer to Brian and Brian as Brian squared or B squared earlier today.
Well, Brian Brake is.
I've already. It's Brian Betcher and Brian Brake, so we're screwed either way. It's like quads.
So just be squared. It's all good. Just be squared.
Brian squared.
Right.
I don't know if that's
That'd
how
be
that math
squad.
works.
Does it matter?
No. So everybody came to Derbycon for different reasons. Why did we all come? I'll start with Jerry because and Andy because they have the most intelligent looking faces right now.
So nice to see you.
They've also got podcast branded shirts too.
That's right.
Yes, these are aren't these handsome?
Where are
these
our
handsome?
podcasted branded shirts?
We don't make enough money.
I need
Oh.
tank tops
Oh.
too.
So yeah,
You're gonna make me print out.
I'm here to hang with the people,
Nice.
right?
You're a people person.
Well, not really,
No, wait.
but I kind of like people sometimes in small quantities.
Is that like small batch quantities? What is
Yes.
that, like barrel store, barrel aged?
I came because Jerry's parole officer wouldn't let her leave the state without me.
Now you flew him. Which one was a steward?
He was like my
flight
Uber-
attendant?
No, that's true. I was.
Worst Uber ever.
I don't know. It was pretty good. Yeah, we did fly private aviation up here, and it was good. It was not cheap.
You
Did you get your
flew.
Freedom Fondle?
Well,
Fondle.
All the way up.
Red
no.
Oh my gosh. Is that legal? Did you say that out loud?
Mile High Club, baby.
Very nice.
So yeah,
Not in Georgia.
we it was good. We had some thunderstorms on the way up, but otherwise it was good. And Jerry's like, "This is beats driving by a lot." And then I told him how much it costs, and he cried a little.
Oh. Really? Is gas expensive?
Without getting into too many details, a very, very short version of this trip will probably be $1,200 in plane rental.
This is, I think, the most expensive way to get to
Yeah.
Derbycon, except for taking a cab.
But wait, no. So you save all this time on all the other stuff, though, right? All the layovers in other places. So it cost more, but that gave you freedom to go at the time you wanted to go.
Absolutely, yeah.
Suppose
Right.
so, yeah. Whatever.
Okay.
But nobody cares about that. We'll move on.
Yeah. So, Bill, you had an interesting talk, right?
Wait, we're skipping why everybody else came?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh no.
a minute. I put my notes away.
Well,
Your
no,
notes?
No, we're gonna talk about why.
Were
you
we
came.
supposed to bring notes?
All right, how about
We're
you,
talking
Ms.
about why
Bat?
you came.
Ms. Bat.
Oh wow.
Hi.
Start now.
Right?
Why did you come?
So this was actually supposed to be my Con-Free 2017. So I was just only going to go to our Franklin and our own B-Sides event, and then the DEF CON, Black Hat thing. But Dave Kennedy asked me if I would come back and do the resume interview workshop for attendees again this year, because we had such a remarkable success last year for something we put together like 3 days before the conference. So I came back and it was super cool.
How did it go this year?
So this year we had about 50 folks come through to get their resumes or mock interviews or both. And we had, counting Hacks for Pancakes, Leslie and I, 31 volunteers.
Wow.
We ran 4 hours. And in that time we had 3 people come in while we were running our workshop to tell us they had job offers last year after participating in our workshop before they even left Derby. And then I had 2 people today. So
Woo!
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah, that's a measure of success. That's outstanding.
How many people did you make cry during your mock interview?
I don't play stump the chump with my interviews. So my goal is to help our poor hackers lacking soft skills to kind of understand that now it's a little different interviewing now than it was even 10 years ago, and that you're going to get culture fit questions that maybe you wouldn't have gotten 10 years ago, diversity questions, questions about challenges, problem solving. Like, they can jam the technical, but they don't really, they choke when you ask like the white guy. So tell me how important it is to have a diverse team. And then they just kind of don't know how to answer, and so you want to ask them this before the first time they get asked it at an actual
Yeah, so
interview.
the behavioral interview is a big deal now.
For sure.
And technical folks have a challenge on their hands, and that's awesome.
What's
Well,
the
thanks.
answer to that question?
Well,
Is there a good answer to that question?
I think there's a pretty good answer, or several answers I've heard that were kind of mind-blowing, but if you can approach the question honestly and truthfully by examining the question for yourself, then I think you come up with the best answer. But diversity doesn't mean just women or gender or LGBTQIA or black or white or it also spans like socioeconomic backgrounds, educational backgrounds. Did you learn to code on the job? Did you learn to code in a classroom? Diversity spans this whole spectrum. So you have to imagine that if your team is made up of only one, let's say, demographic or type of person from, and certainly we know there are a lot of white men in our field, so it's not meant to pick on white men. It's just that there happen to be a lot of you in our field. But if your team is made up of one gender, one demographic, and say you all come from the same educational background because your employer requires a bachelor's degree, right?
Right.
You've kind of excluded this whole, 90% of this community that could bring talent from these different places.
So you're saying I should cancel my cloning program?
We want more of you.
I think that there's
I didn't say it was cloning me.
So we just need to figure out how to make marginalized folks feel welcome in tech. We need to make folks who have experienced a level of privilege in tech understand maybe what's happening on the other side of the fence that they may not even understand. Employers may not realize that their job listings are kind of written in a biased way. So things like Textio are great. You can run your job description through that, and it'll tell you if you've kind of eliminated some groups.
I really want to jump back for a second. You said what site helps you analyze that?
It's an application, Textio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are more. Check GitHub for just little ways. Like coders are trying to find ways to check for unconscious bias in language.
Oh, wow.
There's some cool tools out there.
And I also have become aware that certain, in at least some situations, those who are actually looking to hire folks run into issues with the way they have to word the job posting so that it doesn't address any one group, or they genericize it so they're not giving away trade secrets. So it's very, very challenging to write everything. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's all very specific.
Yeah.
So the questions that are asked them in these behavior interviews, I mean, some of the applicants have no idea. I've never heard of these questions. Like, tell me about yourself. They stumble on that question. You know, that's a 10-minute answer right there.
Could be, yeah.
For sure, and I think that if you can ask people, what they're passionate about, and if people going into interviews know to maybe have something ready to talk about.
Right.
You have a project on GitHub you're proud of, you participated in the CTF that you had a lot of fun, like that's the kind of stuff I want to hear about in interviews. So when you open up that cultural piece, it really lets the potential employer know whether or not you're going to be a fit on their team. The problem is just that a lot of folks haven't had experience interviewing, or a lot of us have just been doing the same thing for a long time and want to change jobs and don't realize that the questions have changed. And there are also folks like junior analysts who have no idea what to expect in, say, a technical panel. And that's very overwhelming. The first technical interview that I ever went for, I showed up at NASA, and there were 5 engineers at a table, and I almost shit myself. I was terrified. I had no idea that was what I was supposed to expect, So if we can kind of just prep them for the different scenarios they might encounter, maybe they'll do better in the job interview. I really believe the talent's out there. We just haven't figured out a way to
Cross that hump.
Yeah,
right?
Get them to
figure out how they can engage and feel like they can express themselves
Yes.
in a way that allows their resources that they can't, the things they can do, the creativity, the challenges, the problems they can solve, how to engage so that they get that opportunity. I mean, I want to throw over to Amanda, who actually has definitely shown that you can grow in your field and really grow and do. Oh gosh.
For the audience viewers, I'm being stared at quite aggressively right now by 10 white dudes. Yeah.
Getting to a position where you're able to write a book and communicate out and and create a stance and do you find that just like Ms. Bat saying that you have kind of had to grow your own interpretation of what the path is?
I've just ignored everything everybody said so far and kind of done my own thing. But I did help with the whole mock interview resume thing. And one of the things that I hadn't thought about is there was a guy that I interviewed and helped with his resume, and he came up and he was confused why he would walk into some interviews and some people would say, "Well, tell me about yourself," even though he's already given them a 3-page resume. Already telling them about himself. Well, it turns out most people don't read it.
But let the computer do it now, right?
Yeah.
They want the elevator pitch, right?
Yeah. So
30-second
learn.
one.
Yeah, I mean, just practicing about yourself on how to actually sum up your resume in the matter of 2 or 3 minutes. So maybe they didn't read it. Sum up the entire resume that you have, so you actually get past the fumbling over yourself and what you're supposed to actually talk about.
I hired people. I was basically a hiring manager for probably 10 years. And it's hard to get to know somebody in 15 or 20 minutes. And that's one of the reasons they need to have a resume that stands out. And it's just tough. It's a roll of the dice for the employer and for the person who's looking for a job. And the last thing you want to do is give somebody, especially if they really need a job, not give them the job. So it can be emotional as well. But standing out as a candidate, there's all kinds of different things you can do. One of which is being very knowledgeable about the company that you're interviewing with. So do OSINT on the company you're going to interview with. So you can talk about some of the things you've seen online, which is a big thing. The other thing is not to have a messy resume. Most resumes beyond 2 pages I never read. In fact, I pitched them. Now that's a real disservice to people who have been working for a very long time, like old people like myself. But some of us have gone through multiple careers, and maybe that's time that I spent counting hot dogs on the conveyor belt just wasn't really prevalent or relevant to what I'm doing now.
You do realize that is some kind of bizarre, that's a really strange coded message there talking about dudes in InfoSec. That's just really strange. Just throwing that out there sideways. I want to actually take
I
this.
count them every time I come to a conference.
Oh gosh.
There's one other tip I would throw out there that when you get to a point in the interview where you're getting interviewed and they ask if you have any questions, by God, have some questions.
Exactly.
questions.
Exactly.
Yeah, it better not be about money.
What are the benefits?
Right.
Right.
Well, you should
because
not in
that
the
goes
first
to-
interview. You should not do that.
That should goes to your point. Know about the company.
Yeah.
Have good questions ready to go to show your interest level. And there's so many times I see folks who are like, no questions.
It's funny. I actually got hit up by a guy overseas, and he was like,
Wait, hit up or hit on?
hit on.
Careful.
No, it was on Twitter, and I said, yeah, you should do OSINT on companies. He's like, over here in Europe, you're getting in trouble for doing that stuff. I'm like, look, all this shit's public. You can't. You should be able to do OSINT on that, or OSINT on the people who are interviewing with you.
Open source.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think the guy got it.
Trouble? I don't understand.
I think he worked for one of the big four, and he was like, "Oh, you shouldn't do OSINT on people because that's not right."
Did he think you were running MMAP scans or something?
I don't know. No, we make that delineation that you should be able to go to Facebook, you should be able to go to LinkedIn, you should be able to find out who you're interviewing with. Exactly.
Well,
I would have skipped not the last place I was employed. One of the places I was employed at for like a 6-month period of time. I would have skipped that job if I would have seen what their IP address space was on Shodan.
But that aside, in a way, you still have to credit that job with getting you where you are now, because you would say, I know what never to do again.
It was my first security role.
Well,
They
there
gave
are
me
some
the
companies
title.
that have a special sombrero they have to wear so that,
Yeah, I sat there. and
Well,
twiddled
you're
my thumbs for
interviewing
6
the
months.
company as well as they're interviewing you. You might decide it's not the culture you want to get into,
Correct.
where it may
Culture
not be
matters
for
a lot.
you. Do you have any stories about bad bosses?
well,
I'm
actually,
sorry. Adrian shaved his beard.
I'm sorry, this is stopping the entire conversation in the room. I haven't seen that man's chin in, well, that sounds weird. I haven't seen his chin in years.
there's a face under
I
that.
have not seen that face for
Wow.
years.
He's gonna be able to eat soup again.
Yeah, I can eat soup again. Yeah,
So,
Sorry, I didn't do that.
so on,
Man.
on the
Something has gone tragically wrong. I don't know what's going on.
It's called derailment, and we're actually professionals at it because everyone here probably. No, I speak for myself.
Squirrel.
And
Yes, there it is.
So on the topic of OSINT and resumes, in some jurisdictions, technically, to even do any OSINT, you're supposed to have a private investigator's license. There's a couple of states in the U.S. that's the technical side of it. I don't know how well it's enforced.
So you have to have an investigator's license to look at a website?
Technically, if you're doing OSINT collection, that's the technical piece of it.
I understand what you're saying, but how do you prove it?
That's the enforcement part. I don't know how well
And
it's
I guess if you're in that state and you're going in for security role, they might know about that.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think you're better off asking forgiveness than asking permission, especially if I'm an employer. I expect you to look at my website, and I expect you to know who works there and what we do, because in the end, the security person or even the IT person is going to be enabling business. And if you don't understand the business, it's going to be hard for you to play your role.
Right. Know more about the company than what's on the first page of the website.
I agree.
But, continuing down the resume rabbit hole, with a lot of the tell me about yourself, to go back to that for a moment, I don't see it too often, but I've heard of instances where people just give completely bogus data on the resume. So, take a minute or two, summarize your experience. That's a test to see how well you've got it down pat, to make sure that what you're saying is consistent with what's on your resume.
Oh yeah, as a hiring manager, I don't trust anything on a resume. I verify everything.
Absolutely.
So you don't trust anyone's resume?
That's correct.
So what's the point of it?
It has to be verified.
Yeah. So if someone says to me that they've got certain skill sets or they know certain technologies, I'm going to ask them questions about it and find out if they really do.
But how do you know that they've made that? Okay. So it just gives you a launching off point when you're asking the questions in the interviews.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, it's a roll of the dice. I've hired employees that were just completely unfit for the role, but based upon their resume and their interview, I thought they hung the moon. I thought they were the best thing since sliced bread. But once they started in those working for me, I realized it was a complete mistake.
You put it on your resume, it's fair game.
So how could you change your interview process then to catch that?
You can't. People are social engineers, and people can social engineer their ways into jobs.
So
What about references?
I would argue that a little bit. I would say more interviews with an individual. I prefer multiple times,
How many?
ideally 3 or 4, including a social setting like coffee.
Yeah.
Where you disarm them, you get out of a formal environment, and you just talk.
I think that's Jason Statham you're thinking.
I actually prefer the interviews where they're not like, you need a suit and tie or something to come in and talk, because it's very uncomfortable. It sets me on edge because I'm not used to wearing
I'm comfortable in a suit and tie.
Yeah, but you're rare.
I know.
You're the exception.
You're academia. You're in academia. That's your dog. That's your bag.
I used to work in law firm.
That's your bag. You got socks like old dog. What's his name up in Canada? And he has a sock thing. Steven, the PM, Trudeau. Yeah, Mr. Trudeau.
Oh.
Yeah, he has a sock thing. It's a thing. So
I was trying to figure out where we were going because a lot of the info.
Are we talking about sock fetishes?
Squirrel.
yeah.
Sorry.
The last couple interviews I've had has been like, okay, we're gonna meet at a Starbucks. I asked, what's the. It actually was a negative. They said if you came too dressed because you were seen as L7, square.
You should dress.
Yeah. So
for the job that you want. If you're working in a role,
this is work clothes right here.
That's what I'm saying.
This is work clothes.
If I showed up,
more than.
But here's the flip side. I work for a financial,
Are you a developer?
bank, a big
I work
bank,
from home.
and I had somebody show up in jeans, tennis shoes, and a ratty shirt for an interview.
right, that will not work.
What was What was he going for? Vice
Security.
president of.
Security engineering.
Okay.
Hold on. I showed up.
Showed up in a nice defensive section.
I think they would have been hired on the spot.
In the same way, if you're interviewing for the job, driving the truck that goes around and picks up dumpsters, which is an honorable profession, you probably would not show up wearing a bow tie and a blazer, because that would not be appropriate. So you have to dress to the culture. Finance is very formal.
Sure.
Law firms, very formal.
Academia, very formal.
There are people, not particularly, most professors dress like they're homeless. And there's a reason, if you've ever seen what they pay for professors.
What?
What? I'm serious. I mean, I took a pay cut to go in academia, and it's very rewarding to be there because I love my students and like what I do, but unless you're a dean or a vice president, they don't wear. I mean, people don't wear ties.
No, they dress down a little more. Yeah.
Only people yell at me because they say I dress too nice, and I'm like, this is me.
But isn't that a cultural thing in academia, but also a personal choice in a lot of cases?
It's a personal choice, I think, in every case. I mean, I did my talk in a bow tie, and
were you wearing anything else?
No.
A smile.
No, I basically dressed as if I were giving a lecture because to me that's how I felt comfortable.
Right.
And to look at it from the social engineering perspective, I mean, you're not going to try, like if you're trying to gain access to, say, a factory, you're not going to come in a 3-piece suit. You're going to actually show up wearing whatever they wear.
That's right.
So you're going to want to do your reconnaissance.
Yes.
If you have the time, sit out, find out what people are wearing when they're coming in and out.
I just straight up asked the recruiter, what's the dress code?
That's what you probably should do.
I wore a tutu to my job interview.
And I bet you win. I bet you win.
You did not.
You wore what?
I wore a tutu to my job interview. I respectfully disagree. I think that you should just maybe there's the it depends piece, right? But I think you should just be yourself from the get-go. Like, if you do your recon in the company, right, then you know whether the company is the place that you want to, like...
Well, you make a good point. You may self-select out.
Right.
If you walk in and it's a formal environment, you don't want to be formal, you self-select out. That's
Well, no,
Yeah,
I still disagree with that too. I disagree with that as well, because I went into a place, I liked the team I would be working with, the environment around that team, far more formal than I expected. So just going in and cutting loose was not the right move. But the team I worked on, they cut loose all the time. But the rest of the audience, you have to kind of adapt to.
Exactly. Yeah, I worked at a hospital forever, and the hospital had a super strict dress code. No visible tattoos.
Wait, Amanda, you were the patient at the mental institute. You didn't work there.
You just thought you worked at the
hospital.
When they said
I
you
felt
were...
like I worked there after being there for so long.
When they tell you to dress for the job you want, the outfit should not tie in the back with the sleeves and the wrists and the whole thing.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
Go on.
Everybody ignore him.
We get it, Amanda. You wore that thing. Scrubs.
Scrubs.
That's not what I was thinking.
Scrubs are so
But yeah,
All
I had
this
to
talk
cover
of
my
straight
tattoos.
jackets is turning me on.
Oh my god.
And red.
There's the explicit tag.
Okay,
I've been trying for a red card all my life.
Brian Brake said that.
But yeah, I mean, but I love the team that I worked with. So I mean, it depends on your situation. I mean, you said it depends.
I don't like to go places to work. I just want to.
I like staying. Yeah, I wear my pajamas every day. So
I just only work places where I can work from home. I only have 3 rules. I only work from home, and I can't be bound to your schedule. And I just only travel when I feel like it.
That's awesome. I wish I could do that.
Going back to the verifying the resumes.
Yep.
I've had specific experience with people completely, I would say, making up certifications, and then asking them to articulate those certifications, and not being able to even explain the acronyms they have on their resumes. And there's so many certifications out there that you do have to question, because there might be one you don't know.
So you could make up a SAM certification that starts with a G, and nobody would know.
That's called
I think
management.
that's where I think like the CISSP, how you have an identification number. I think something like that is really, really valuable, because then you can go and look up that this person's legit and it's actually them. So I think more certs should have that.
and also the OSCP. You can
Right,
look it up.
and honestly, HR departments that I've dealt with, and it's been a few of them, they just give up honestly on trying to verify these, because there's so many organizations that they don't really even know if these organizations are
And they're
real,
overwhelmed.
because
They're
they
so
don't
overwhelmed
know
with their
from a
own
technology perspective.
And
There-
now you have digital badges even.
Yeah.
You get a SANS or a CISSP or something. You can go to their LinkedIn, and it's actually validated through a third party. I think Acclaim is who does it. You can actually go and see, hey, this is legit. And then, I mean, there's a verification as well, but that's more time.
I never
consuming
put
than
mine on
looking at
LinkedIn because I felt like I was leaking too much information, but maybe
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
Well, there's
I'm
an
not
app
looking
idea
for a
right
job
there.
either.
Whoever wants to build the application that unifies all certification identification together, you
Federation.
could probably make a lot of money.
And that's what Acclaim is doing, really.
And then we'll have yet another badge that unites all the other badges.
The
It's
certified
XKCD
badge of badges.
Yes, the badge of badges.
I would like to state something that I think is a truism in InfoSec, and that we can all agree
Here it
on,
comes.
that we'll never agree on fucking anything.
Careful.
I completely disagree with
Hey,
you.
now
sad.
we have to mark this as mature. Thanks, Bill.
We can't market it as mature. Look who's in the room.
Hello.
Markins immature.
So okay, so even though we can't agree on things, I think that's actually the beauty of the industry itself.
But it makes me tired.
Self-checking.
There's a difference between having debate and having a shit show, which we've seen this week. And
Every
I know
week.
Oh my God.
people
Every
don't want to
week.
go into this.
So we only got through 3 people of why they're here.
Nice. Good set. Good set.
Segue.
So why are you here?
Ben.
This is Ben. He's handsome. He's wearing a nice green top. He's giving me this look with his pouty eyes.
Oh, look at him.
What's his sign?
He is blushing.
What's your sign?
Sexualized right now.
What's your sign, Ben?
My sign? I think it's a Capricorn. I have no idea.
Girls just say my sign says no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yield. All right. So why am I here? That is.
Do not enter.
That is a good question. One way.
Hold on. He was telling us why he's here.
This is my fault.
Man, it is like herding cats in here. So.
Oh yeah.
A week ago, Sean Metcalf said, "Hey, I have a ticket," and I was like, "Oh, sweet. I guess I'll go to Derbycon then." So I booked it.
It's done. Simple. Good.
Okay.
So that's
Great
like
story, Ben.
crime of opportunity.
What crime of opportunity? What are you saying over there? Hi. So I'm actually I come to support and help with audiovisual work with Iron Geek and the team here to try and. I feel it's very important to share the information that comes out of these conferences, because it might give someone else the impetus to just go that one step further for themselves and for others, and it's great fun. And by the way, hi back to the team back at Dangerous Minds podcast. These guys are also very supportive. They're like, hey, we understand that there are podcasts out there that you're part of. Come and help us with ours too. And that's really what helps all of this, is that we all basically see the need to help grow one another. Like weeds, really. No, wait, that's not it. Next.
Oh, for Pete's
Is it me?
sake, I'm yawning over
All right,
here. I had something I want to say, and I couldn't remember what it was. I podcast for fun. Who podcasts to make money? Probably nobody here.
my podcasters have yet to pay me. I keep on waiting for my check in the mail,
the-
I guess.
I brought your.
It's post dated for 3 years.
Wait, what's with this arrears?
What was that, Brian?
It's post dated 3 years in the future, so don't. It'll come next week.
When
Don't
I'm
cash
famous?
it yet. Yeah, don't cash it yet.
I'm just trying to point out we all do this, and it's a labor of love.
Dang
It's
right.
not that we're making money.
Dang right. Amanda, why are you
Bill's
here?
supposed to pay me too. I'm like double dipping on
I
podcasts.
brought your shoes back. What else
Wait,
do you
what?
want?
I don't know
Were
what
you
a
done?
statement.
Were you done wearing them or something?
What segue was that?
You were done wearing
And finally, my stilettos make it back home.
Please, do they still fit? Have they changed size?
They've
Are they-
stretched quite a bit, but I think I can work.
There's a bumper sticker for you.
They've stretched quite a bit.
Oh.
I'm not going to talk about that.
So why are you here?
Why am I here? This is the first Derbycon I've not spoke at since I've been coming, other than the first one, I guess.
Okay.
First one was a train wreck.
Did you come to the first one?
I came to the second one.
Okay, I've been here
With
since.
my
You've
husband,
been here
and that's
since
a whole other
year
story.
one. Everyone raise your
this is why
hands.
you're
The
here,
podcast-
not why
I
is
tend to
he
go
not
home
here?
My
from time to
ex-husband,
time after the
ex-husband.
Derbycons. So,
Yeah, this is my. I've been here
Okay.
since.
Nobody
the
asked
first-
you, Bill. It's my turn for the mic.
I'm trying to talk over here. I'm
I
talking
have
here.
the magic. I have the
Someone
magic
take
speaking
this.
stick.
Take this.
So I am here because I'll never miss another Derbycon. It was my first information security conference, and Jesus, I love.
Work on it. You can do it. Power through.
I love Derbycon,
Jerry,
and I helped.
Jerry
being
Andrew's
distracted.
pointing at me.
I
He's not
helped.
using his hands.
I helped with Miss Batten, Miss Hacks for Pancakes resume / interview workshop, which was awesome.
By the way, I will say
And-
that's awesome. Thank you for
Yeah,
doing
seriously.
that. I
It was
appreciate
amazing.
that. I learned so much from that guy. His name was Dave Corset or whatever.
Great. So I put it on the gist. I'm just
Shout
going to
out.
plug the gist.
Go for it.
I'm just going to plug the gist. It's on the gist. And the goal is to let everybody contribute things they think. And I'll tweet out the link, which I've done a few times. But if you can add any things you think would be helpful for interviewees or interviewers, I want to just have this thing be a format that people can pull down and take to their own B-sides or their own conferences. I don't want to run this thing like I want it to just run itself everywhere. That's all.
I have a question actually about the gist, because I'm giving a talk tomorrow on blockchain security, and I'm planning on releasing all of my research open source. I have it in a gist right now. But you can't. The thing with GIST is you can't. Unlike a GitHub or a Git repo, you can't actually do a pull request. You have to fork it and then link it and then actually go and pull down that repo and then
Sucks.
merge it in. So it's okay. So you haven't
I'm
found any
moving all my
kinda-
shit to GitHub.
Okay.
The only reason it was in gist is because I was sitting and I had an epiphany, and it's a quick way
Right.
to type and get the shit out. And people did do fork it, and they did some format changes for
Yeah.
me, which was cool. But just put your shit on GitHub. And I'm sorry, poop. Put your poop on GitHub.
It's too late.
That
It's too
shit
late.
was sailed and sank.
okay.
So.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I've already screwed it up.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have anything else to say, so go for it.
Yeah, so I'm here because this is actually my first Derbycon. Thank you. And I'm speaking, like I said, tomorrow about blockchain security. And yeah, I've heard so many good things about Derbycon that I've wanted to come forever. And glad I could finally make it. And it's been amazing. Honestly, it's been amazing. So I'll definitely be back every year, regardless of speaking or not. He's prepared.
So I've been to Derbycon. I've been a long time, 4 years. Spoke last year. Honestly, we always come here. It's working within local government. We try to always bring the innovative buzzword stuff to local government, especially the stuff that you can do without the buzzy.
Have you heard of blockchain?
It needs to be renamed to cyber blockchain.
I like
Yeah,
this
the-
band video related to that.
I hear it solves everything.
Cyberspace, kill chain,
Wait till
blockchain.
you see the article I wrote about it. I lead with 50
It needs to be
buzzwords.
advanced.
Super advanced.
Yeah.
Machine learning?
Yeah.
Machine learning, synergy in the cloud.
Advanced next generation APT
Advanced
protection.
persistent blockchain.
Ooh, that's what we need. So yeah, so we try to kind of cut through all that stuff and kind of update the local government community. A lot of stuff I involved in is within local government, especially stuff you could do with almost no budget, or just literally what everything exists already in all the computers and all the technologies, right?
Where our tax money's going.
So it's all the tax money is going there, you know. So we try to get through all that and really try to get out to the community. So that's why we're here.
Cool. I'm here. This is my first Derbycon as well. It's relatively close to home base in Knoxville, and I wanted to compete in the social engineering capture the flag, so results are pending.
Good luck.
I think
You want to hear about my project?
Yes, please.
Just watch my talk.
Okay, go.
That was worse than a tweet. Okay, so I think this originally started with Defensive Security and BreakSec, and we invited a bunch of other people. And you know, I always like coming to Derbycon because it's the one that isn't DEF CON or Black Hat, and I don't like a lot of crowds, and this allows you to escape. You know, there are quiet places where you can go. It's really family friendly environment. We had a lot of kids here today. I noticed just for the weekend.
One of my
So
coworkers brought her son.
right on.
Oh wow,
Right on. Cool. And you know, it's people just give away tickets. I gave away a ticket to my friend in Lexington. She drove up here. You know, she wants to break into InfoSec, and I was like, look, they gave me a press pass for some ungodly reason. I already used my training ticket. I got my $1,000 out of it from Fuzzy Knops, so it's useless to me right now. So just go ahead and take it. And she met so many cool people. She's hope she'll be inspired to join the InfoSec ranks. It's a hard slog. You know, many of us don't make it. You know, I got people in Seattle who are telling me they can't find a job. You know, they're
Wait a
about
minute,
to get
I thought there was all these cyber jobs for cyber people.
No, dude, there are just some people that are in InfoSec that just, I don't know what it is, but they have trouble getting a job.
Maybe it's just not. Maybe they're just really picky and they're looking for the quote unquote perfect job.
Yeah.
I think there may be some behavioral issues as well for some of
Maybe
these
they need to
folks.
go to an interview and resume workshop.
I think that's actually a key thing. It's something that actually Stacey Banks had said, and I've heard from others like Ms. Carhart, that basically from Stacey it was be willing to do a job that no one else wants to do.
Right.
In other words, instead of trying to say this is the only job I want, showing up and saying I want to do this job because it's available. You pay your dues, however long that takes, and see if there's another turn to take or make.
In the same way, my students, some of them have the expectation that they're going to graduate, become the vice president. It doesn't work that way. And I think that people who want to come into security think they're going to come in and become cyber ninja penetration testers. And I'm like, no, you're going to spend some time in the SOC. You're going to have to do
the work,
the grunt work before that. So my talk was called the cyber skills gap, or the skills gap, how do we fix it? And it was more a talk about, I'm asking a question, let's start a discussion. So I'm going to throw up a domain. I have an email address, which is theskillsgap.org.
That doesn't sound like a fish, potentially.
Not at all.
Skillsgap.org.
Yeah,
2017.
But I think what I'm going to do is that
.bz.
I'm going to probably put it up on GitHub, because that way people can contribute and come up. We have NIST, we have all these government-driven, top-down things that we're supposed to be doing in order to educate people who come into our community. They've never asked the actual hackers. So my idea is to ask people in the field, what skills do people who are coming into this field need? And there has to be more than one path to a job. Whether that be university, certificate, or community-based training, which is something that we're doing in West Virginia now, is we take people who live in, like in Richwood, West Virginia, a town of about 2,000 people.
Oh, wow.
The guy moved there from Silicon Valley because he figured out he could buy a house for as much as he paid for his truck.
Wow.
And so,
really expensive truck,
but it's in West Virginia.
Well, that is in West Virginia,
and it is a nice truck.
Careful.
Anyway,
continue.
I'm going to stop.
Dude, no,
I'm going on strike.
Look, I
Okay.
was beat into InfoSec. I didn't. Have
Hey, what do you mean? What does that mean? You were beat
Just,
into
I got,
InfoSec.
like most gangs, you either get in through other ways or you get beat in. So I got beat in.
I came through I was a system administrator, fell in InfoSec.
Me too.
But we need to think maybe about information security as a trade as well as a profession.
Oh,
I've always been a fan
Totally, which was totally different from my talk last year, which was basically making our profession more professional. It's possible that we can train people who maybe are unemployed coal miners or recent high school graduates to do a specific job. And we're still examining this community-based approach, but we have community-based approaches now where people like the guy I'm talking about at Richwood Scientific took an abandoned building and redid it, and now they teach Python for free to anyone who wants to sign up and take it. And then he started a company called Silicon Holler, and they take contracts for full stack developers.
wow.
So, and now the people he's training are now training other people. So, it's just hopeful. Now, I'm not sure we can do that with InfoSec, but it's something we're looking at.
I love the idea of the apprentice or adept tradesmiths. I mean, I don't know if it debases it by saying, when plumbers go out and they do plumbing, they join a union or they have an apprentice that they bring on who works underneath like a master plumber for so many years.
Well, even
and then,
if you're a doctor, right?
Yeah, you still intern.
You have to do an internship.
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity for people to mentor people into the field that way too. A lot of people are out there looking for mentors, and I'll volunteer. If you want to talk to me, just hit me up. I'll get on Skype or Google Hangouts.
But that's it. I think you've hit on a very, very powerful concept. The concept of mentorship, of the need for all of us who have either half a clue or know people who have clues to share those with other people, which again ties right back to the con movement in general. The idea that, hey, there's knowledge out there, share it.
Right.
And also, as a hiring manager, I probably should come and help you all with your project.
You should have, but you didn't.
I know, sorry.
Wow. Passive aggressive. Minus.
No, just aggressive.
Aggressive, yes.
If you want someone to interview you, hit me up. I'll call you up on Skype. We'll get on Google Hangouts.
So bringing it back to Derbycon, what are the best talks going on so far?
Mine.
Obviously, it's your humility that everyone appreciates.
Question out.
I really enjoyed the PowerShell defense talk.
Which one?
The one by, help me, Jerry.
There was only Lee Holmes.
Lee Holmes, yeah. I'll be honest, I only get to like 1 or 2 talks a day because I get so busy with LobbyCon, which is very valuable to me.
There's talks.
Yeah. Yep. So I would almost say for me, the most valuable thing is talking to other people, which is sad because there's a lot of great talks, and I always say I'm going to watch them later. I don't always do that.
Right. Well, that's human nature. There's only so much time in a day.
How many people will we see here that we won't see again until next year? Because I don't go to Black Hat and I don't go to DEF CON, so I know Brian, I probably won't see him until next Derbycon.
It depends on
Brian every week.
It depends on the state of the restraining orders.
You don't even
That's
Facebook
true.
buddies.
Wait a minute.
Buddies.
See on Facebook?
I see your Twitter icon all the time.
There you
I'm
go.
so sorry.
No, but that's
What about you guys?
You should change that, by the
Best
way.
talks or best
We
things?
had there was a great talk on lateral movement detection. I don't remember exactly who it was, but it was by the Peruvian, and I'm not trying to be. He was
the Peruvian.
he
That
was
sounds like a-
extremely. Apparently, they created potatoes and they own McDonald's. So you have to see the talk to understand that.
It would be Bimbos. It would be Bembos, not McDonald's. What is that?
Potatoes.
No, Bembos is a local.
Bembos too, I'm like,
No. There's an E. There's an E. Bembos is a local.
Open the windows.
Send your email. Hate to say it.
He's gonna love that we're
Look, if
talking
you're
about this
Peruvian,
right
you
now.
know I'm telling the truth. That Bembos is a local burger establishment that's preferred over other international brands. Just like Inca Cola is the thing.
You know what they call it, quarter pounder in Chile?
Don't, oh, good lord. In Chile?
Continue.
No.
Back to the Peruvian, which sounds like a cool spy name.
Right. So, right. So yeah, he definitely. He talked about lateral movement within just checking out about 5 or 6 window event logs or window event IDs, doing some analysis on those. He created an open source tool, and he's releasing that. And he literally targeted or not targeted, but identified his pen test and started emailing them while they were doing and traversing through the network, and they were freaked out. So it was the first time that they that the pen testers felt violated. So it was yesterday.
I want to find his name so we can actually give him credit.
So while you're looking real quick, I wanted to say real quick that I liked Jim Niederauer's talk today that kind of walked through his kind of a history of the home computer as well as his path to InfoSec. He started out as like a molecular biologist or something and wound up in InfoSec.
Jim. That was Jim.
So that's Jim's, yeah. And so I really like Jim Niederauer's talk about that because it kind of walked through a whole process and that kind of weird path like you're talking about. About just which way to go. Well, okay then. But no, anyway, so did you find that...
Yeah, I did, and just a point on Jim's talk is I talked to him afterwards, and what I really liked about his talk is he kind of ended on more of a motivational point where he talked about it doesn't matter about your degree, it doesn't matter about what other people have done. He said just like pick up a book, start learning, and you'll get somewhere. And
Absolutely.
I think that was really, really important because there's not too many talks that really have that kind of motivational, inspirational side of things. It's more just technical.
But
stuff.
speaking of
anyone
diversity,
see a talk on like a open source doing discovery sort of recon. Who did that talk?
That was .NET Russell on Twitter.
Okay, I was wondering
that was
about
.NET
that.
Russell.
I was wondering about that because someone referred it to me, and it sounds almost just like an existing project. And I wonder if he's even aware of Lee Baird's Discover or Discovery. But anyway, go ahead.
Sorry, who was the Peruvian?
Yeah, so the Peruvian, I'm calling him the Peruvian now.
Peruvian
if this wasn't your
marching
Twitter handle before, it really should be now. It's Mauricio Velasco. The talk was called Hunting Lateral Movement for Fun and Profit.
and for those who don't know, all of these talks should be recorded and should be available online.
Oh, yeah.
Mixed
Talk today is already on Iron Geek's
Yeah.
site, and that happened literally a couple hours ago.
So
And the open source tool he had was, I believe it was called Oriana. Yeah,
So Amanda,
Yes.
what have you seen that you liked?
Oh, be good. Oh, behave.
And
Oh my god. This right now.
Todd.
I've not watched any talks.
So have you been doing lots of LobbyCon then?
I have been. I worked with Lee. Jesus, boys, just give me one.
It's like the first time. Anyway.
It's coming out this
Oh, boy.
I cut all this out later.
That's what
I worked. I work. I have an over. Hush, Bo. Hush. I had a project that I'm working on that I'm going to be giving a 3-hour tutorial at the O'Reilly Security Conference for.
3-hour tutorial.
And Lee was helping me with that earlier in the lobby while we were drinking, so that was fun.
So what is this tutorial on?
It is.
Can you talk about it yet?
Yeah, it's called. I don't remember the full title, but it's something about reversing the kill chain. Because I have a
cyber kill chain.
Yeah, cyber kill chain. So a lot of times, so I work at an MSSP. I've worked at MSSP for a couple years. I just switched to a new one, and a lot of times I talk to executives that want alerts and monitoring broken down by threat, like cyber kill chain level, right? So there's the 7 steps. They want to know that all 7 steps are being covered.
I thought there were 12 steps. Never mind.
No. Different program.
You are feeling about a higher power after you've had an incident response, so you're embracing that higher power.
So my whole thing is I want to get as much specific information out there on how to deal with different common threats. So like ransomware, privilege misuse, data exfiltration, that kind of stuff. So they know exactly what to monitor on, for what, and what step of the kill chain it's at, and so there's no missing gaps for that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So you're filling the gaps of the kill chain.
I am filling the gaps of the kill chain.
Well, there you go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cementing the kill chain.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the kill chain's bullshit for a lot of stuff, right?
So you're saying this is more like the spackle?
Yeah, I mean, most things don't fall into the kill chain. And that's another thing that I'll be covering. I mean, Microsoft covers it a little bit differently. They have like a 2 little loop-de-loop thing that they do instead of the 7-step kill chain. And different things fall into them differently depending on the type of attack that you have. And some things don't fall into them at all because they're not advanced persistent threats. which is what the kill chain was built for. And
Not
even
everything's APT.
yeah, I mean, even real APTs from real red teamers don't always fall into the 7-step kill chain.
Well, because nothing's a perfect system.
Right. So I'm trying to
Cover
augment
the gap,
that and fill in as much as I can, so there's more coverage and easier. And not outsource, but open source the whole spreadsheet thing that I have that's in a pretty rainbow color.
Just make sure it makes it in my slides
That's what you see.
for work.
Awkward silence.
What did you
I
see?
saw. Oh,
What did you see?
I'm sorry. Do you want to go?
No.
I saw a really cool stable talk out with the old in with the new GNU, and
Nice.
yeah, it was shout out to Leslie Kohai. It was her first ever conference talk. Yeah,
Great.
and she knocked it out of the park.
That's awesome.
Wicked smart. But she talked a lot about tribal knowledge and how we all kind of got where we are through this tradition of oral history, or somebody teaches you on the job, or even if they wrote a book, they wrote it because somebody showed them how to do the thing and that's how they've been doing it. So just talking about how just because the way that you do it is the way that you you might want to reevaluate and see if there's a better way. But she was specifically narrowing down to command line and how you can be more efficient on the command line. And she talked a little bit about minor changes you can make to the way you grab or pipe that will use less resources to make you less detectable when you're on the server. So it was a really cool talk, and I don't know if they recorded the stable talks, but if they did.
They did.
Oh, great. Then out with the old, in with the new GNU. It was good.
Outstanding. Well, there goes.
Mr. Bedger?
What question are we on now, or why are we here, or what?
Both.
I'm here because this is my favorite convention, right? But talk. I like Tyler Hudak's talk. I learned some tidbits there that'll help me, harden my defenses. I'm in IR, and most of IR is preparing for an attack. So I'll spend 95% of the time hardening the systems for and making our log management, log correlation, hardening the endpoints better, to where when we do see an attack happen, then we know exactly what happened and we can contain it.
So what was his talk on that you saw?
His talk was on the things that came out in the Vault 7, how none of those things were new. In fact, one of them was from 1987, right? And so one thing I took away was that I need to be looking for a debug value in the registry under each process that potentially could run, because malware could hide their persistence there, and that runs before any process, right? If that value is there, among other things. So, yeah, good stuff.
I've not made it to any talks either. I spent a lot of time in the social engineering village, especially during the phone calls, watching the other competitors. Saw a lot of really clever tactics and techniques for getting unsuspecting vishing victims to sing like little birdies. But so I'm looking forward to Matty Stone's IDA Pro with Python talk tomorrow morning, though.
Right. Very cool. So I saw Mick Douglas's talk today, and he got fired up. He's really called all-out war on pen testers if you're in the blue team, and some of the stuff he was talking about with making it easy to secure your environment. He added some new PowerShell stuff. He's really waist deep into PowerShell. He loves that stuff, and he did our PowerShell class with us, our 6-week PowerShell class. And he created something called Sideswipe, which allows you to watch for lateral movement. There's also some configuration tools that he's put out in PowerShell, but he's just knocking it out of the park. It was a great talk. If you get a chance to see that one, yeah.
He will be giving a version of that talk that's a little bit more extended at SecureWV/HackerCon.
Right.
When's that happening? And when is that happening?
Hey, Blair, where's those cards?
Oh, well, there it says there. The Ocho.
Sorry, I can't remember anything.
Well, it says that HackerCon 8, the Ocho, is November 17th to the 19th on securewv.com.
That's correct. That's in
And all the cool kids
South
will be
Charleston,
there.
West Virginia.
For sure.
So Amanda will be there.
So one of the things I really liked about that was the make sure you shake it up for the red team. The fact that the things that you've used over and over time don't get better with age. It's just kind of like a standard thing. It becomes almost like a sandbag, and everybody knows it, so the level rises. So you've got to do something new and interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, I think I've only been to two or three talks, and I would probably go with the PowerShell, Lee Holmes PowerShell talk.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm about to go on a bunch of travel, so I'm hoping to watch some of the other ones on YouTube. But there's a whole bunch that look pretty good. So anybody else? All right.
Oh wait.
Next. Oh, go ahead, Ben.
So,
Everybody makes it.
Everybody turn it.
All right, here he comes.
One talk I got to today was by Nick Carr and Sean Metcalf. And it wasn't so much a talk as like a long improv skit. They
You're saying it had like interpretive dance?
a little bit. There was some interpretive dance by I think the Sizzo was played by Daniel Bohannon. So there was some rocking in the corner and shrugging and things like that. But you can wrap up a lot of messages and humor, and they did a really good job of that. And I hope I'm never in the same room as the legal firm Spectre and Ops, because that was a bad situation that this company found themselves in.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned improv. We're told in the InfoSec community never to say no, which is something they teach you in improv. You never want to say no. You want to kind of go with whatever it is.
We're told
So-
you're talking about like social engineering, like red team kind of stuff?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you take an improv class, the thing to tell you is no shuts down the conversation or whatever. So what you want to do is, say yes and go with it. And that's what we were told in
Is that how you ended up in Reno with those 3 dead hookers?
Yes.
And red card.
And red card. Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Carry on.
Okay.
Realize that William Shatner ascribes to the same concept of say yes. Apparently, every job the guy's ever had, it's because they said, "Would you want yes?" and that's it, and he just goes.
That's
Well,
how we
that's-
ended up with T.J. Hooker. So
Yeah, but how else do you spend 3 years on the hood of a car? I'm just asking you.
I was.
there's ways.
Yeah.
And of
I used
course,
to show
you
cars
know
off
that.
at car shows, so I
Did
ended
you
up
really?
on car. No.
Did you never know? I mean,
Yes.
you could be the
Wait.
human super chamois. I don't know. It's your if that's your superhero name, that's your business. I'm not here to.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I didn't have the body for it.
All right, so one more quick question from me, at least. Since we got so many smart, experienced people here, one thing I hear a lot about.
Where?
Have you checked under the bed?
Wait, no, we're not allowed to do that. There we go.
Hey.
Okay, you were saying.
Avoiding burnout.
Boy.
Big topic. Hear a lot about it. Any thoughts?
Oh gosh.
Well, we
How long is this podcast
did
gonna
we did
be?
a talk with Megan and Rando. Okay, with RallySec over there, and it was one of the highest rated podcasts we've had, and most downloaded. And he talked about burnout and mental issues and depression that affects a lot of us. Because we often can't talk about a lot of what we do with NDAs and what have you. So we can't even share that sometimes with our own family, or they're not in InfoSec, so they don't understand. And this is one of those industries where this is why we have Derbycon, because we're all in the same boat, very leaky boat. Where we're all holding on the same damn door. She needs to get out and share the door. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, she needs to share the damn door. Jack would
There was
live.
enough room.
You shut your
It wasn't
face.
a door. It wasn't a. Okay,
Anyway,
get back on.
So
topic.
yeah, I mean, we like to self-medicate quite a bit, but it's just good to get here. It's cathartic for us to sit down and talk with friends and people who've gone through all of these things as well. So this is how we avoid burnout. I think in many cases, many of us go to a lot of cons. Some of us don't go to a lot of cons. Some of us, I know Mr.
group
Vetcher and I.
therapy.
Yeah, it's group therapy.
We're having group therapy.
We do
right
group
now.
therapy on podcasts. We
Exactly.
talk about our problems before and after,
support.
and even during. So yeah, we're all a big support system here, which is why I think Derbycon is what it is. And things like Black Hat and DEF CON and RSA can just bite my shiny metal ass.
Thank you,
and-
Bender.
And said. So yeah, I think that's why we have these kinds of cons and our B-sides. So in local setting, we can also tell people that you're not alone. So
Also, Danny has a Slack channel now.
Right.
It's InfoSanity.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah, if you go to infosanity.org, Jason Street also has ironin.com. There's a lot of really, really good researchers, right?
What are the early
that have spoken
Is
and
this specifically around like burnout and around
burnout
issues?
and mental health and stress and lots of other things, different resources and how to handle it and a whole bunch of stuff.
Jack Daniel also has given a couple of talks on this topic with the same exact kind of concept. Is just pay attention, look for your own signs of wear on yourself and on the team around you, and try to watch for people, because I can't recall who quite said it, but it was that you never know what someone else is currently battling or fighting or where they are. So kind of cut them some slack and maybe ask how they're doing and try to leave a little bit of room. That has been so true in so many places where you see somebody who's struggling and instead of just saying, well, I'm glad that's not my gig, maybe just offer to, it could be something simple, right? Hey, do you need a coffee? You need a break? Can I get you something? Or maybe it's just getting a chance to step away.
Yeah.
It depends on each person and the situation. Or at least that's my opinion.
And you want to be the kind of person, if you are the kind of person where people will come and talk to you about issues, maybe you have issues yourself that you need to look at. Maybe
I have lots of issues.
I know,
Oh, gosh. You had so many issues, you wrote a book. Hey.
So, yeah, we're all ambassadors to our own individual, sphere of influence, and we as podcast people we're leaders in our community, even though we don't like to say we're InfoSec leader, rock star, thought leader types, but people look to us for guidance in many cases. I mean, they obviously do, or we wouldn't get downloads, So I mean, people look at us and they go, "Oh, you've done so much. You've helped us learn so much," and we need to be cognizant of that.
That's why we have guests, because we're not really leaders, but our guests are.
Well, we amplify the message.
Yeah,
we amplify the message.
That's the role we perform. It's that amplification and the ability to share, because we provide a conduit. I think at that point.
That's the reason I
hope
have Amanda.
So. I hope so.
Come on my show
What?
because I'm pretty boring.
So
I'm the comedic relief for both of them.
Does it work?
Always, not always.
Yeah, it
easy.
helps my anxiety just to fuck
So
off
not-
and joke about everything.
It's not
so,
easy
yeah.
to get guests is one thing. So if I call Amanda, usually she's pretty good about getting back to
It's
me.
because I always pick up.
But
Wait, what do you pick up? That's
there
the
are
question.
definite abuse problems, substance abuse problems in this industry.
There's not a lot of.
Careful.
Yeah.
And
There
there's-
needs to be a little bit more self-reflection as well.
I agree.
But it's difficult to step outside
It's
of
a
yourself,
lot.
isn't
It's
it?
very hard.
I'm getting sweaty right now.
Yeah, very. But yeah, I mean, substance abuse is a bit. I mean,
and there are people who have
not just alcohol either.
some
There's a
mental
lot
health
of issues.
and say something on your way out.
Can we say bye? Can we say bye to the quitter over there?
I have to go because I have to judge.
So do I.
Whose slide is it anyway?
Well,
I'm
actually
supposed
going
to Uber
that
back
too.
to
I'm
my
at 8
hotel
o'clock,
and
so-
change.
I'm at 8 o'clock. So
I have to get ready.
I'm so glad to meet you finally.
Thanks for
So
having
I
me.
have to leave too?
I'm humbled by the intelligence and talent in the room. So
We love you.
And we can find you at Ms. Bat, right?
you can find me at the Devil's Voice.
Well, they're a match set, ladies and gentlemen. That was well done. That's
I always
awesome.
wanted to
Thank
meet
you.
her.
Me too.
So one thing I'll say on the burnout is
Never met her.
that's all right. What I observed is a company will take, most companies and managers will take whatever you're willing to give. So you need to be very careful about what you give.
Very true.
Talking about me, aren't you?
You're so vain you think this podcast is about you.
Don't you?
Don't you?
So like on the topic of burnout, something I found actually that's not discussed a whole lot is actually fitness, right? So I got out of the Navy. I'd been very active. I got started in InfoSec, and I sat and I gained about 50 pounds.
Oh yeah.
And then I gained type 2 diabetes.
Oh,
Me
And,
too.
achievement unlocked.
Exactly. So finally, I've gotten a doctor that has additional research in diabetes, and basically he's like, just get the weight off.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I took up exercise, and I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now.
Oh wow.
Which is a pretty intense workout, but it's practical. Since we'll say August 1st, when I got back from Vegas, I went from 228 to 209.
Wow.
So my A1C is almost self-regulated.
Wow.
So with that, as an industry, something I'm trying to put together would be like, I'm jokingly calling it the Hackers Jiu-Jitsu Network, but basically when there's a con, we all meet up at a specific gym, we roll together,
Nice.
spar, that's called rolling, and then move on.
Okay.
But honestly, I can't stress fitness enough. I mean, I'm still fat, don't get me wrong, but take some time for yourself, because realistically, you can't work if you can't leave the house. You can't. Well, you can, but
No. Seriously,
if you're
that's a
able-
good point. You
you know-
need to take care of yourself, because how can you help others if you yourself are
Right,
sick
right.
to the point where you can't function?
Exactly, because
You're making a big assumption that I want to help others.
Can I say something about that? I mean, it just looked like it, but I at one point was pretty overweight, and I wasn't in high school, and then I went to college and stopped moving. And the one thing that I found helped me, I lost probably about 30 pounds in like 3 months, because the one thing that I say to people is find something that makes you sweat that you enjoy.
Meth.
Just do that. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Stop that! Stop it!
If that works for you, then that works for you.
It still burns calories, technically.
But I mean, obviously eating healthy helps. But at the end of the day, that's the easiest advice to follow, I think.
Absolutely, because the other side of that coin is the weight loss is not solely from jiu-jitsu. I've been following the paleo diet pretty closely, with some deviations, but keeping track of what we're eating. Because I mean, when we're sitting there, we're sitting at our desk, we're chugging, soda, we're candy,
something,
Cheeto dust.
Right, Cheeto dust.
Whatever.
That's not what the kids are calling it these days.
Well, I was referring to the dust on the keyboard from eating Cheetos and Doritos to become the 400-pound hacker.
Clean your keyboards, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
I'm not kidding. That's actually one of those things that you don't think about, but let me tell you, that keyboard is frightening.
Exactly. So just by giving up soda, shifting to tea and water,
Yeah.
and eating better, I mean, I feel probably 10 to 15 times better already.
Oh, yeah.
And part of it's psychological. I'm fitting into clothes I didn't fit into before.
Well, also you might feel physically better, even though, okay, fine, so there's it's just, yes, get out there and move. I totally agree with you.
It's hard, though, because many of us are consultants, and, we spend our time sitting in a silver tube that's blasting at 400 miles an hour up in the air. So, I mean, you get done after 10 hours of taking shit from people, and last thing you want to do is, go find a nice meal.
Yeah.
You're hitting a McDonald's or whatever. So
I'm doing lunges
try
right
to
now.
Eat.
In a way you are.
You got pants on, right? No, but I mean, you got to make cognitive choices like, not eating fast food all the time, or, at least getting out of walking, or trying to, get together with local InfoSec, or, maybe gamify your walking. I started doing Pokemon Go and Ingress. Don't laugh. It works.
No, it works. Well, no, that goes actually
I'm
right
busting
back
out
to
10
it.
miles a day, I mean...
But so that's actually one of those other things I want to actually go back to with the burnout question, is that all day long, it seems like while we're going through the stress, we're actually picking up the stress. And one of the great things about actually exercising is it takes out the stress. So it gives that stress somewhere to go to leave.
Exactly.
And that's isn't that part of the challenge?
Absolutely. And there's something therapeutic about doing jiu-jitsu and tapping someone out or choking them. But usually
find something that makes you sweat that you enjoy.
There
you go.
You can tap. Important thing, with consent.
Yes. It is always...
Amanda, why are you laughing harder when
Nope,
you said that?
nothing. I love
Amanda, that's not jiu-jitsu.
Choking and sweating.
choking and sweating.
But with that, even with making food choices, there are better fast food choices than others. Like, for example, with the paleo side, I'm limited to basically Panera, Chipotle, Zoe's Kitchen, and then Knoxville actually has a paleo restaurant that's relatively fast. So, you've got to limit yourself. Don't go to McDonald's all the time. Just make... Well, exactly.
Well, and isn't it also like every single day, every single meal becomes that choice? Like that's where the struggle is for some of us?
Yes.
I know
Oh,
it is for me.
absolutely.
Yes.
it's like down to that moment where I walk into the door and I'm like, do I want the really comfort food thing or I know what would be better thing? Forget it. I'm stressed. I'm going for the not good choice.
Oh, absolutely.
Peanut butter and jelly is just so easy to make when you know.
That is not a. Hey, I'm not knocking PB&J.
Right. And then even with that though, like I'm not a celiac or anything, but paleo has me avoiding gluten. But something I'm doing is I'm specifically programming cheat days so that I don't get stressed out for the diet itself.
Yes.
It's like yesterday, I ate 3 slices of pizza at the Break Sec meetup.
There you go.
Sorry.
No, don't
Was
be.
a break set made up?
I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say.
Moving on.
Okay, so.
Moving right along. I'm just kidding. So, yeah, I mean, no, I was just kidding.
But yeah, I mean, with that, if you follow some diet, like whether it be paleo, South Beach, Mediterranean, keto, any of those, some are fad, some are not. But if you follow them, you're going to stress yourself out if you don't just, break loose and have a cheat day every now and then.
I have a wine diet, which includes drinking a bottle of wine every 2 days.
Wow.
It's fruit salad, right? That's a salad.
Fruit salad.
Yeah.
If you add fruit, it's
I've always
sangria.
said-
Grapes of fruit.
Have you ever seen a fat French person?
So you're saying sangria diet? No. So honestly, don't you have to be really careful with? I mean, all kidding aside, like there's taking a break and then there's breaking the mold. I don't know. I mean, there's got to be a limit.
Well, there is. And I'm a type 2 diabetic. I'm on medication. I've tried to lose weight, and it's hard with 2 bad knees. I've walked more in the last 2 days than I probably walked in the last 6 months. But the other thing, going back to stress, you have to do is find something that will relieve your stress. Mm-hmm. And eating probably should not be one of those things.
There are better options, but sometimes there's still the option.
And alcohol probably shouldn't be one of those things. I took up playing World of Warcraft. I mean, that's what I can blow things up, kill things, hack stuff,
With
and not go to jail
consent.
without going to jail. Exactly.
Not when they're mobs in a game, man. I don't stop to ask every bad creature that comes up to me in Destiny.
I'm making a joke about it.
I'm making them sign a release.
What's this joke? What is this? What humor? What?
Consent is implied in the gaming.
Thank you. I appreciate you just playing into the whole thing. I'm like trolling him, and he's like, "No, it's a joke."
Hang on a second, squirrel.
Okay, wait. You stopped just to look at your phone?
Sorry.
Wait, was there something special happening?
No, Matt Perry apparently got an interview about his. He has a.
Bill put his okay, guys. Wait.
I appreciate
Bill put his fidget spinner down, and now he just couldn't handle himself.
Well,
you had to talk about malware, about ransomware, which was supposed to have been pretty good. So.
Cool.
All
right. So, I mean, yeah, I think we need to wrap this up.
I agree.
I got a judging I got to do. So,
You're judging the same thing I am.
at 8 o'clock, yeah.
and
All
I'm
right.
competing,
So,
so you get to
I'm
judge
sorry.
me.
We were told not to judge. Judging is bad.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. So I'm Canadian sorry. That means I'm really sorry.
Really sorry.
Really sorry.
Hey.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't you?
All right. So we're gonna finish up, and this has been a fantastic podcast.
This has been, I think, a
Is this a
tremendous coming
podcast?
together.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody has a show. Maybe we could tell everybody what their show is and what they talk about on the show, and then we'll finish it up. We'll be done. Starting with the godfathers of the podcast here.
Hello, baby.
Zach.
This is Jerry with DefensiveSecurity.org. You can come and listen to us talk about recent breaches, and maybe a joke or two about Amanda.
What?
About or
No,
with?
no.
From?
I was busy. What?
I know, I saw. I see you over there on the bed.
Oh dear. Okay, hold on now. Just keep it moving. Wow.
That's all right. All my
Okay.
Twitter followers.
So BreakSec is at breakingsecurity.com. That's BRAKEING security.com.
Best podcast ever.
Wait a minute.
Ever.
When you're on it, yes, it's the
Ever.
best. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's room for everybody.
Nope.
You will never be on my podcast again.
Mr. Betcher, Miss Berlin, Mr. Betcher, Miss Berlin, and I, we try to educate people. We're not strictly news of the week.
Cover DLP soon.
We cover some DLPs. We're going to get with the blockchain dude over here that's going to solve all our problems.
Oh, good golly.
We actually do some training. So we did some training with Mick Douglas and them. And, if you want to talk, we've got a Slack. So go to breakingsecurity.com. All that information's on there.
And not just training. We do... I got one.
Book clubs.
Book clubs.
Oh, book clubs, CTF.
clubs.
Well, that's all on the Slack. And once they get on there, they'll find that stuff out.
Listen to the show to find out about the Slack.
Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Oh, all right.
So,
Quit slacking.
say something real quick. Keep it in the tweet.
For 140 seconds.
All right, I'm also from Breaking Down Security. You can catch me there. So that is it.
He's the strong and silent
I don't
partner.
need a microphone because I'm myself.
He's already got his microphone.
I Reboot It Podcast. rebootitpodcast.com, I think. Anyway, so you can find me there. And we're also on YouTube, iTunes.
It's high class.
We talked about this earlier. You couldn't remember all of it.
I don't know. I do this for fun. I mean, this is as much as playing World of Warcraft. And that's the reason I'm like, I want to do a podcast, so I'll call Amanda. And I'm bad at planning things that make me happy, so I guess. So we may actually have to skip weeks depending on what I'm doing, but rebootitpodcast.com.
Hey, this is Ben Heisey with Rally Security Podcast. Twitch.tv, Rally Security. You can watch us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's basically live shit posting and with a side of news.
Nice.
Or whatever's going on.
And I'm Sciatic Nerd, or Stephen Bernstein from actually both Dangerous Minds podcast at DM Podcast, as well as securityendevors.com/podcast. Appreciate you guys letting me come along and play here today. Thanks so much.
I'm Joe Gray with Advanced Persistent Security. I basically roll solo and try to have guests on to talk about whatever they really feel like talking about. I try to make it a little bit for everybody, so everyone from the seasoned professional to the noob could get something from it. It's on most of the platforms, advancedpersistentsecurity.net. Yeah, I'm never buying a domain that long again. On Twitter at ADVPersistSec. I'm C_3PJoe, and the show's not been published in about 6 or 7 months. It is coming back, I promise. I'm working on getting the 4 episodes recorded to get edited so they can get published.
Did mine count earlier, or do I have to go again?
You can go again.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'm Amanda, or at InfoSister on Twitter, and I'm on BreakSec.
So I'm Aaron, Inspector on Twitter, with a 3 and an RE. I don't yet have a podcast, but something's in the works, so stay tuned.
Wait, how'd you get in this room?
I know people.
Oh.
I brought my own.
Blockchain solves everything, man.
And I'm Andrew Callett, also on Defensive Security, and I talk about Jerry's mom and llamas.
Whoa, you do like to herd llamas.
Awesome. So yeah, that was it. Hope everybody. Sorry, he didn't want to talk.
Come on, Jeremy.
You've been out.
At Cyborg 00101. Talking a lot of things. Amanda Groupie. Made to this room. But we do a lot of stuff within local governments, from government to government stuff. So we're trying to get the word out there.
Right on. Well, that was it for the 3rd annual Derbycon podcast with podcasters.
Now you people get out of my room.
Okay. Well, put some pants on, for God's sake. So that was it. Everybody be nice to one another. Have a great week, and we'll all see you on our respective podcasts. See you next year. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.